So, can Jesus' church teach error? And how should we interpret the verse, and the gates of hell shall not prevail over it, the church? Well, in this video, I'm going to compare the Catholic and Protestant positions on these questions and the truly frightening implications. Protestants interpret the gates of hell shall not prevail passage from an end game perspective, that the church can and has taught and believed error throughout its history, but will ultimately prevail in the end. In contrast, the Catholic Church has always believed the church has been, is, and always will be protected by Jesus from false doctrine. The reasoning is that the church interprets the gates of hell shall not prevail passage not as simply an end game, but rather as an always and forever. So let's examine the term prevail and compare the two positions of the Protestant and Catholic faith. I'm going to use a sports analogy to do this, and hopefully this will make as much sense to you as it does to me, but my brain thinks some crazy things sometimes, so who knows? Here goes. Let's say the Detroit Lions are playing the Chicago Bears in a football game. We know that the game has 4 15-minute quarters, and even though, as you can see in this example, the Lions lost the first, second, and third quarters, it really didn't matter because they won the fourth quarter so convincingly that they won the game, which is the ultimate and really only goal. Who cares about the quarters they lost since they won the game, right? This is similar to the Protestant position that the only thing that really matters is the end game score. As long as the church wins in the end, in essence, who cares about the errors it has made along the way? However, this logic fails miserably when applied to Jesus' church because the game, so to speak, doesn't involve points, but rather people's lives and souls. So let me explain. So rather than a 60-minute game and 15-minute quarters, the church's game isn't ending until Jesus returns. And in breaking down what is currently about a 2,000-year history of the church, each quarter can be represented by 500 years. The church has a convincing fourth quarter when Jesus returns and wins in the end. But if the church, who people depended and relied on for the truth, taught falsehood for the previous 3 quarters or for any amount of time for that matter, and this false doctrine led some people to leave the Christian faith, the church would be responsible for these lost souls. And these losses can't be made up like in a football game, as they represent lives lost to Satan. Their game is over. Let that sink in. These lives are lost to Satan forever. They are out of time. Saying the Bears won the first, second, and third quarters isn't saying anything meaningful because they ultimately lost the game. But saying Satan won the lives of souls during a particular time period where Jesus' church supposedly taught error is a very big deal. It's the biggest deal of all. To lose souls due to false doctrine means the church was directly culpable for the damnation of these souls. If you were to interview those poor lost souls who trusted and of no fault of their own followed an untrustworthy church, I'm sure they would contend that the gates of hell had prevailed, at least in their case. This was one of the death blows to any consideration I had in becoming a Protestant. I would have had to admit that Jesus' church, the one he said he would protect, taught error and was therefore directly culpable in souls going to hell. That means Jesus wasn't able to do what he said, protect his church, which means he failed. Here's where it gets scary, since if he failed, then he can't be God, because God can't fail. Absolutely terrifying. It was at this realization I discarded any thoughts of becoming a Protestant and ran back home to the Catholic Church. If you've left the church, I hope you do the same. Come running back. If you're a Catholic but unsure about the church, I hope this video maybe gives you a little bit of confidence that you're in the right place. May God bless you on your faith journey.